I'm Nicole.
I'm Rolando.
And this is Remakes, Reboots, and Revivals.
An original podcast
about unoriginality. And speaking of unoriginality, we have a new trailer that just got released this week for the long-awaited, much-anticipated, depends on how you feel, new Fantastic Four movie.
Marvel fans are kind of hot and cold. Sometimes they're just oh my God, Marvel has been saved. Oh my God, it's over. Every other movie, every other property, so who knows anymore?
Yeah. It's been that way for the last couple of years, ever since the last
Endgame.
Avengers movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So where do you stand on Marvel?
I don't know. I mean, I'll watch it. I loved Agatha all along. Have you seen it?
I have not, but where I stand on Marvel is pretty...
I feel like that's up your alley. It's got lesbianism, it's got witchiness, it's got Patti LuPone. I feel like it's screaming, Nicole, watch me.
Yeah, because anything with lesbians and witches, I love.
And Patti LuPone.
I do love Patti LuPone. That is true.
Yeah, I feel like she steals the show, so much. I feel like you would. I feel like you would enjoy it. I feel like Agatha all along is the perfect thing to watch, even if you're not attuned with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
One thing that's not queer, the Fantastic Four. This is definitely something that has been in the works for a long time. Even when we first started this podcast in 2018, we've been talking about it and the fact that it might be a thing, but it almost seems like it's like a cursed project for movies. Every movie has not done that well. I know the Jessica Alba one got a sequel.
The sequel was horrible, but the Jessica Alba one is terrible too. I mean, that's why I can't wait for us to cover the film, because I'm going to push us hard to watch the never released 1980s version that was just created so that way they could keep the license.
Love that.
That alone is worth watching it, because I remember I saw the trailer as a kid and I was so excited. I wanted to see the movie and it never came out and I was so confused.
Well, I feel like this movie, again, they've said it before, and like you said, everybody changes their opinion with every movie, but maybe this is a make or break Marvel. What if this isn't a hit?
I don't see Disney stopping anytime soon.
True. Marvel's
too big to fail. And I think also I think the way it's not so much about the movies doing well, it's about how the toys perform. So I think because of that alone, I don't think, yeah, sure, fans might hate it, but as long as kids are buying the product, I don't think anyone cares.
And as long as they're going to the theater, whether or not they like it, as long as they're going to the theater, that's what matters.
I haven't been I haven't got to all the Marvel movies that have come out since, but I don't know. Sometimes if something intrigues me, I'll check it out. I have no interest in seeing the new Captain America. And I don't know why, but I also didn't like the Captain and the Winter Soldier.
Well, so then there you go. Why. That's why. Yeah.
If you don't have Chris Evans, it's just I don't and I could also make the argument, I guess, for Fantastic Four.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. I think a lot of people got so attached to the original Avengers that they're like, okay, well, who can, the new group be that people get really attached to? I think they're banking a lot on Fantastic Four kind of being that.
Sure. I mean, you misunderstood me. I meant Chris Evans isn't in the Fantastic Four. I don't care, because Chris Evans was what a sexual awakening he was in the Fantastic Four.
All right. Well, talking about butts and seats and whether or not we want to watch this, let's watch the trailer now and see how we feel about it. Is this a movie that we actually might want to go see? Now, this is a teaser, and yet this is it. This is what gets people excited. So will we be excited? Let's find out.
Welcome to the Baxter Building.
We make a point to do family dinner every week. Sunday at 7 on the dot, no matter what. We're all here.
Okay.
Do you like the 1960s aesthetic? Or 50s, I think? I don't know what.
I do.
Okay.
This is unique to this, right? This isn't a Fantastic Four thing?
Yeah, for this project. This is going to be a period piece.
I see. So is this sort of like a prequel?
Sort of. It's this movie itself is taking place in the 1950s or 1960s. I forget. I think it's the 60s.
You couldn't turn invisible.
But I hate when Marvel does this, because I feel like the implication then becomes, it's just wait, if superheroes existed all this time, why are we so surprised that Captain America and Thor and Iron Man got together? You know what I mean? It seems like superheroes has been in existence for decades.
And I am
it's true.
Right here. Whatever life throws at us, we'll face it together.
I also am not crazy about the CGI right now for The Thing. But I do love this
Ooh,
car.
nice
Check this
car.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that car. John Malkovich? What? Oh, is this the
So
big Robert Downey Jr. reveal as Dr. Doom? Or
okay,
oh no,
first
they're
of
not even
all,
going to show him.
that wasn't Doctor Doom. That would be Galactus.
But isn't he supposed to be the big bad in this?
I think he's a big bad for. All right, so for audiences who may wonder, is like, what? Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, so I mean, you probably know Robert Downey Jr. He will be playing Doctor Doom, who
Mm-hmm.
is usually attached to the Fantastic Four projects, but additionally, Fantastic Four have another plethora of bad guys that they tend to encounter. For some reason, they tend to encounter the Silver Surfer and Galactus. Galactus is like the eater of galaxies, and that's what that looks like, right? I wish Eddie was here because Eddie, he's a bigger Marvel fanboy than I am, so he would have been able to fill in some of these gaps. I go by what I remember from, like, the cartoon series that used to play. Again, I think it was in the 1960s, right? 1970s. It was like an
Yeah.
old ass cartoon show.
I have not really ingested a lot of Fantastic Four content out of all of them. Again, I grew up more on the DC stuff. So when it comes to Fantastic Four, tons of questions.
Mhm.
I like that it feels kind of like a prequel to all of these other movies, since Iron Man, Thor, they takes place in, contemporary times, early 2000s. So this being a
Yeah,
precursor to that, that's
but Captain
actually
Marvel did the same thing.
so okay. Never saw Captain Marvel.
Okay, it wasn't good.
One, I know that didn't really work. Yeah, I don't think people have generally responded well to the Marvel films, like
Uh,
the Captain Marvel films.
right. Yeah. I'm not necessarily like. I guess we'll wait and see. Like for me, the biggest thing is just like, oh, so we have a Galactus reveal in this teaser, right? Who knows how that's going to play out? But Galactus, he is like he's an interstellar being who destroys galaxies and stuff, and it just confuses me because it's just like, when why were we so unprepared for Loki in the Avengers, right?
Okay.
And like canonically in this world universe, the 90s is when Nick Fury began the initiative to like have us prepared for a potential space invasion, right? So it's just like, I don't know, it just raises more questions and answers and stuff. And I hope that we're not going into the realm like my I don't think this is what's going to happen, but I don't want it to be like a different alternate universe, because I remember, if you remember from the Wolverine and stuff, like we have alternate universes and stuff, so,
Yeah.
and timelines. So like I don't know what the plan is here, but what
Yeah.
did you think so
No.
far? What did you think of the teaser since you were watching it?
I think I'm excited for the casting. I think
Mhm.
Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby being in the main roles are probably one of the only things that I'm really excited about just from a first glance. I think Vanessa Kirby's great. I like Pedro Pascal.
Who's Vanessa Kirby?
She's just sort of like an actress that's been popping up, and every time I see her, she's fantastic. She was in Napoleon. She was in the Mission Impossible movies. She was in this really good queer movie. I forgot
Mm,
what it's called. About like women in the West. I think she's a great actress.
mm,
So every time I
okay,
see her, I enjoy her.
so that's Sue Storm.
Yeah,
Okay, I've
yeah.
never seen her in anything, or at least, but I also am notoriously bad at faces. So
As a movie goer, I'm intrigued, right? I'm not
okay.
necessarily a Marvel fan. I look at this as more as your average moviegoer who everything that I know about Marvel is because of movies.
Mm,
And so it seems like it's going to be one of the big event movies of the year. I think it would
mm-hmm.
be really exciting to see this with a big crowd, big screen. And I'm interested in the direction that this is going because it really does seem like they're trying to change things up. Like you're saying, leaves a lot of questions, and it also could go in many different directions.
Yes.
So it's got me intrigued. And I think that to that question is, am I going to buy a ticket? Is this going to get me to sit in a seat? I think so. What about you?
Mm. I mean, it probably will. I like Pedro Pascal. I think he's so charming and so like just nice to look at on screen. And like I didn't know how I felt initially to see him as Mr. Fantastic, especially since I think John Krasinski kind of fulfills that fantasy more so. So I don't know. I don't know if you knew that John Krasinski played, Dr. Fantastic in live action
Mr.
form, right?
Fantastic? Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And I would love
Hmm.
to see him and Emily Blunt, like
Emily Blunt, yeah.
be the Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storms, but obviously it was like a lot of fan casting. Uh so outside of that though, I do love Pedro Pascal, right? I know I told Nicole recently that I had seen I was watching Gladiator 2, and it's just like, wow, what a dud of a film. But truly, like, Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal are at their peak hottest, I think, right now, both of them, and what different ages, right? Like
Yeah.
Paul Mescal being at his peak hotness makes sense, right? He's like a virile young man, but Pedro Pascal, like, this is a gentleman that we're talking about, and he is like I think he is hitting his peak right now. So I
He's a
think
hottie.
yeah, I am excited to see it. Now also in Gladiator 2 was that guy Jack Quinn. He's playing the new Johnny Storm. Now this is where I'm kind of just like, this may seem like a little bit of a downgrade, because like I'm comparing him to Chris Evans, right? That is like peak hotness
Yeah.
of like Mr. of Johnny Storm. And then you know who else played Johnny Storm on live action, right? It was Michael B. Jordan that played the other Johnny Storm. And it's just like like, I mean, now these are two just absolute hunks of men portraying this role, right? And I don't know if Quinn, we'll see how Quinn handles it, but like, that's a lot of beefcake to stand up to, you know.
Yeah. Joseph Quinn is his name for
Joseph
sure.
Quinn, that's his name. Yeah, he was one of the emperors in Gladiator 2.
Well, I definitely think that casting older actors as Sue Storm and Mr. Fantastic is going to vote in their favor. I think Jessica Alba was probably too young when she played her. And also, Miles Teller, when he played Mr. Fantastic, how old was he?
Yeah, no, they were supposed to be, but they were aiming to be young. I'm actually curious. I haven't seen that film. I want to cover it because that has such a backstage drama, and like, it truly just destroyed the director. Like, it destroyed him. Like, not like his career, yes, but like, truly as like a person, he was like just ruined.
Oh my God, that's terrible, Rolando.
It broke him. Yeah.
Okay, so really quick before we sign off on this, what are you more excited for? Fantastic Four's new revival, reboot, or Superman's?
Ooh, that's a good question, right? I might be more excited because Superman also seems like a period piece,
Does it?
doesn't it? It didn't look like it was in the contemporary.
Should we watch the trailer?
But look at their fashion. It does not look like contemporary,
This is true.
Walking.
right? And I
He
think they
looks
went
much
for like,
younger.
he does look like much younger than.
Ooh. God,
Oh,
can they make a Superman movie without Lex Luthor? I swear.
No, you can't do another movie without Lex. You can't do a Superman movie without Lex Luthor.
I guess so. I'm kind of tired of that. It's like how a Batman movie can't be done without Joker, it feels like, but
That's not true.
they've
They
at
did
least
the
done
Batman
them. They
without.
did it. Oh, wait. Is that Green Lantern?
Yes, Green Lantern is in this film. That's Mr. Terrific, I think is his name. Wow, 2 trailers for the price of 1, guys.
Ooh.
That's something you have to change.
I like her casting. I like
Oh
her
yeah,
casting
no,
as
Rachel
Lois Lane.
Brosnahan as
No matter how bad.
Lois Lane is just like, you know what? Great casting.
No matter where.
I see
Yeah.
it. And you know
Okay,
she has that
alright.
spitfiery attitude, at least from Mrs. Maisel, that she can carry through.
There is only one thing that can eliminate hope.
I know the
look at these
dog.
outfits. I'm a sucker for crypto.
All right. Wow. They're going to be released like 2 weeks within each other. So I don't know. What are you more excited for?
I think I might be more excited for Superman, to be quite honest, a little bit. You know why I think I'm more excited for Superman? Because I think this is James Gunn's like first like foray in the new like DC universe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is. And so I think there's a lot more writing on this
Yes, there
as
is.
a result. And I also do think that DC does have a history of when they let the creatives do what they want to do, they take bigger risks. Right? When the studio meddles, then it's a problem. But here they gave a creative, and James Gunn is a creative, the liberties to do what he wants with the entire universe. All right. And that didn't pan out with Zack Snyder, but I have more faith in James Gunn, to be honest. So
Yeah, because Guardians of the Galaxy was such a smash for Marvel.
Mhm.
You know, they took a relatively unknown property and made it pretty big.
yeah, and I loved his version of Suicide Squad.
This feels safe more than anything. It's funny because you say the word risky, and yet when I look at this, I'm like, this looks very classic. Superman as opposed to Man of Steel.
Right. Well, and maybe that's the difference, right? Because like so many of our movies have been so dark and gritty
I'm
that this
so
one
glad.
does seem like it's like kind of hopeful a little bit. At least
Yeah,
that's
it
the tone
does.
they're kind of going for.
It seems like the days of the Christopher Nolan and Zack Snyder kind of
Mhm.
influencing every other superhero movie might be over. And that now it's like, let's just get back to pure fantasy and maybe even camp and just have fun with it. And especially for DC, which talk about cursed properties, Fantastic Four, and just all the DC films recently, you know, they're looking like this is a huge summer for them. They're taking big swings with these.
Yeah. I guess we'll wait and see. I'm more excited for Superman, but you know, hey, we got to watch Fantastic Four.
We'll be doing them both. Yeah. So
we will be. It's going to be a
we'll
busy
see.
summer for us.
We got our reactions pretty much on YouTube, reactions filmed right now. So come July, tune in to see how we feel about these actual films when they come out. How do you feel about them? Are you excited? Are you a fan of Marvel, DC? Are you excited about any of this? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow our podcast. And until next time,
Stay on original.